So you set up a refugium, and you want the refugium to offset the nitrate so that you can get more fish in the tank. And you know what? It will. It will. And the problem is that if you add a refugium and you use an all-in-one or all for reef, and you start sucking all those elements out of the water column, this is what happens. Let's take a look at this. This is Brightwell makes this wonderful product. It's called Cheato Grow. I use it. I grow tons of Cheato. I sell tons of Cheato. I grow it right back here. I use this stuff. Works great just with salt water. Cheato grows like there's no tomorrow. However, if you add a refugium to your fish tank and you're using all for reef and you're not adding this Cheato Grow, the Cheato that grows in that refugium is going to suck all of these chemicals completely out of your water column. And it tells you right here exactly what is in here that your Cheato needs. And if you're not adding this, right, and you don't realize that your Cheato algae is sucking all of these ions, all this stuff, boron, calcium, iron, magnesium, they'll all come back zero once your Cheato starts to grow strong. Within 2 weeks, it'll fill in and grow. These will come back zero in your test unless you're adding their food. Now, if you don't realize that, you'll have to start adding trace elements. Same thing. That's what's in trace elements, what's there. So all of this is in all for reef, but not enough to feed a big bucket full of Cheato algae. And it is enough to feed your corals and keep your fish fine. They're just happy. But when you start overloading your tank with fish and adding a refugium and a skimmer, the skimmer's also sucking these same elements out too. They're pumping into your foam cup. So all this stuff is getting stripped out of the water column, and all because you want to get some more fish in your tank. And so you really have to make a decision. Do you want to go the heavy fish route and run a low nutrient system and have to pile a lot of food in, or not? Now, let's say you want to run the low nutrient system, right? And you say, well, okay, I want big fish and I want corals. Well, then you're going to have to dose A, you're going to have to dose K, right, from Tropic Manor, Tropic Marin. You're going to have to add, like I do, I use phosphide when your nutrients get real low to feed those corals. They have plus NP. You'll have to use plus NP to add the nitrate and the phosphate that your corals need to grow. They'll be fine. But all for reef will not do it by itself if you're adding Cheato algae and running a skimmer, because all that stuff's getting sucked out like there's no tomorrow. And so this is the problem. So anyway, think about that when you get to this point, when you're ready to start adding fish. And I would recommend nano fish in a reef tank, and get plenty of them. If they're like 1 inch, 2 inches long, if you can get 20 inches, you get 10, 15 of those in a reef tank, beautiful. And they look great, they're fun, they got character. Or you may want to go the big angels, you may want to get into those, but you're going to have to be prepared for that bioload and have a tank big enough to handle it, or filtration big enough to clean it. So like I said, you'll see as you get there, you'll have to choose your direction, but don't blame the all for reef when you add a huge bioload and then have to start dosing to keep up with the iron and manganese and magnesium and nickel and sulfur. It goes on and on. And iodine, very important. Your shrimp will die. So if you have Cheato algae that's in your tank and you're not dosing these trace elements, or at least feeding your Cheato algae their Cheato food, I guarantee your shrimp, your crabs, they can't molt. They'll die. There's no manganese, there's no iodine in the water, or it's so low because it's all getting sucked out by the Cheato algae. So anyway, that's that. Let's take a look at this really quick. One more thing. We're going to also look at Mega Vital.